All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of All About Aspen, which is, let's just be honest, this is really level up Lando. I haven't figured out All About Aspen quite yet, but eventually All About Aspen is going to be the public one. That's a hyper local look into one of the most exclusive places on the planet, which is Aspen, Colorado, through the eyes of me, one of the locals here, an everyday man, not a billionaire, landing like a plane. And, yeah, that's all about Aspen. This is going to be another episode of what my other show is called, which is Level Up Lando, a show that takes you inside the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, and the occasional success that is the everyday challenge of my life. As I pursue my never-ending effort of trying to level up, I'm your host, landed like a plane, and I'm coming at you from Truscott Studios, aka my bedroom, right here in lovely Aspen, Colorado. Today is Friday, July 18th, 2025, and it has been a minute, I gotta say. And in that minute since the last time I've done one of these, a lot has happened. So today might be a little bit longer of an episode as I got a lot that I kind of want to share and talk about and try and get off my chest as I'm just trying to get back on track. So I'll kind of start where I'm at, and then we'll back up, and then we'll catch back up to where I'm at. So just been going through a hard time. I got very little money. I worked a manual labor job, which was hard work, and long days. And I made a decent amount of money. I made about 5 grand doing that, which ended at the end of June, so like June 22nd. And then I was able to use that money to pay my rent for both July and August. And today is July 18th, so we're more than halfway through my sister Madison's birthday, also July 18th. Happy birthday, Madison. And I got to talk to her earlier. She's in Portland, Maine. So, maybe I'm just using every little bit of good omen and positivity to try to just jumpstart my situation, because I'm floundering, and it's not due to anything other than my own doing. I'm self-sabotaging, and so um, that's what I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to get back into routine, and doing these podcasts is a big way that I do that. So I'm able to share my thoughts and kind of get them like out, if you will. And then on top of which, I always end up using this little yellow notebook, which we're almost done with. I've started using the green one to just sort of keep myself accountable. It's my little yellow book of accountability, and it's been lacking in my life lately, if I'm being totally candid. And as a result, things are hard. So, got very little money, a couple $100 to my name, and trying to figure out how to create a payday. And it just seems like pulling a rabbit out of a hat is something I'm really good at doing, but it's getting old, and I need to find some more consistency, and the work that needs to be done to get there is not fun. So, in that way, I'm having a hard time bringing myself to actually doing the work, and that's relatively unacceptable. I mean, it is what it is. That's what I'm identifying as one of the big problems that I'm dealing with and trying to overcome. Because I want you guys to know that that's how it goes. It's not all easy. It's a lot of like fighting myself to just do simple stuff that isn't hard, but is not a pleasure to do, and as such, I procrastinate and delay, and um, I've done that for so long now that I can't really afford to do that. I can't afford to do that one day, and I'm coming up with other ways. I've been writing for the newspaper, which is cool. I'm getting a lot of good feedback on that, and that's generating a tiny little bit of money. But I need to get this drone thing consistent. And in order to get it consistent, I need multiple clients. And in order to get multiple clients, I need to figure out how to outsource my video editing. And in order to outsource my video editing, I need to be able to afford to outsource my video editing. And in that process, I need to be able to edit so that I can get to a point where I can afford to outsource it. And I'm not good at editing. It takes me a long time, and I do kind of enjoy it once I get into it, but it's hard for me to get started. So that's where we're at. Now we'll jump backwards in time and kind of catch you back up. So I finished that construction job, and it kind of not the next following week, I was able to go to Ideas Festival, which is this, left wing think tank of both the problem and the solution to all sorts of societal issues. And so that was kind of cool because I got a press pass through the newspaper, and I was able to cover it. So not only was I able to go, I got paid. And I'm a professional speaker, and these are some of the best speakers in the world. Although they weren't really some of the best speakers in the world. They were these amazing people and these very established people who, some of them could speak publicly, others were not very good, and they were just average. They weren't like something that I was there to see was how good these speakers were. So, but the topics were interesting, and there was food, and it was cool to socialize and be seen. And I had a press pass like placard, and I don't know, there's something cool about being in the public and then having something to contribute. Normally I'm the guy working the event. And so that's how I get in, is because I'm actually and I actually was working the event, but just on the other side, sort of. I was in dress clothes and able to schmooze and socialize and drink and, participate with all the, attendee side, the people who are paying, the patrons, versus where you're not allowed to do that when you're working, it. So it was really cool to kind of be immersed in this, relatively prestigious activity, being paid to be there, even if it's a nominal amount. I got in for free, and that's kind of cool. It was a $3,000 ticket to be able to get to go, and I went. I really did. I like that kind of stuff, and I didn't have anything else going on in my day, so I would go down there and eat the free food and listen to these lectures, And I did get kind of lectured out by like the third day. It was a week long, so but either way, that's what I did the following week after that manual labor job, which the manual labor job was helping to build that thing. So that was a really interesting perspective to go from having leather gloves on and having to put together these big art features that would then be used and seen later by all these people, to then being one of the people getting to experience the thing I built. Was cool. It was cool to have that kind of perspective, and I wrote up a couple of nice articles about it. But then shortly thereafter, I had to leave because I was heading down to Boulder, Denver to see Fish. They played over the 4th of July. And so having got that $5,000 chunk of money, I paid my rent for July and August. That left me with like $1,200. And then I drove down to Boulder. I cleaned the shit out of my apartment, which was awesome. There was a brief moment in time when I came back from the trip where I got to be in this clean apartment, and it was incredible. It was very short-lived because I ended up throwing everything in my car and making it dirty again. But it was really nice and so I spent a full day or two cleaning it right before I left and preparing and getting ready to go down there. And then went down there, and I slept in my car for 3 days on the streets of Boulder, so that I could save $1,000 on hotel rooms and Uber fees and stuff like that. And I was down there with my buddy Jody, and we really had a good time. It was fun to kind of become a street person in Boulder for a few days, and we had, by day 3, we definitely had it dialed. Plus, I was able to walk into one of the Fish shows without having a ticket. So I've never done that before. I've heard of it being done, and it was kind of weird to get tickets because they weren't playing the normal arena, and they were all on the phone. And so you didn't know if people had extras or not. And so at one point, I just walked past security who was helping people with their ticket, and I got in for free. So that was the first night. And the second night, I ended up buying a 2-day pass for $150. So I paid $150 for 3 nights of Fish, which generally it's $100 a night. So I felt like I came out pretty ahead financially, going to see them. I saved $150 on tickets alone. Plus I slept in my car. I did go out to eat. I had one of the best breakfast burritos I've had. If you're in the Boulder area and you can go to, I think it's called Santos. It's Santos or Sancho's. I think it's Santos, Santos. Um, they had chorizo and bacon burritos, and it's one of the best burritos I've had in recent memory. So, and I love burritos. So, shout out to Santos in Boulder. The food in Boulder was pretty good. So, but that was sort of a whole thing. And then I stayed for another couple of days in Denver before sort of checking my bank account and realizing, like, I just don't have that much money and I need to get back here to try to make money. And yeah, I joined Costco, which I'm pretty proud of and happy about. Shout out to Costco. And I spent $500 at Costco. So if I had $1,200 to spend, I probably spent $300 on fish and then another $500 on food and clothing at Costco, which was a pretty solid investment. I'm pretty pleased with how much food I got for the amount of money I spent. And so that then sort of catches us up where, I've been back home for over a week now and needing to edit, and I'm not editing. And I have this video that I made when I was doing the manual labor job. And so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can find it and play it because it. I made it to remind myself of what it was like to have to do this manual labor job and how much I didn't like it, and that's what's waiting for me if I don't get it figured out. So let's see here. Landon, future Landon, this is... Okay, there's one of them. All right, this is a message to future Landon from past Landon. Today is June 16th at 3 p.m. You're at the Aspen Institute building the Apple, and you hate it. You get hurt, okay? You have to deal with getting injured on the job, and your manual labor, you're using your body. Your body is sore and injured when you're done, and you need to figure out how to make money doing the drone thing, because this is not worth it. They're paying you $40 an hour and you make more than that flying the drone. So when you don't feel like editing and when you don't feel like doing the work that needs to be done to be able to make this business successful, remember past Landon telling you, reminding you how much you hate doing this kind of thing, and that you're past this point in your life and you can make money and more money doing something you enjoy and love, and you figured out how to do that. So whatever your issues are, whatever your bottleneck is, whatever your procrastination is, remember past Landon saying, we don't want to do this. You've got 1 year. Today's June 16th. You've got 1 year from now to make $100,000. Let's go. Stop fucking around. Get it done, because this sucks. You hate being hurt. You're better than this. Make it happen. So there you go. That's the first time I've seen that since I made it. And then I got another one that I made here as well. So let's see. This one's a little longer. Landon, future Landon. This is past Landon, June 13th. It's like 6 p.m. Just got home from this job where I got cut up, scratched up, got Band-Aids on, multiple fingers, bandages on, and it drives me to drink. I went and bought a bottle of booze because I'm just so pent up and frustrated. They make me a project supervisor, and I'm just not being paid enough money to do this bullshit. So this is your reminder whenever you feel like not editing or taking care of the actual business that you have to take care of. Take care of it. We don't want to be doing this job next year. 1 more year. And then we've got to be making money. Like, I'm so over not having business. So do what it takes to do. Get your shit done. Remember this. Remember this feeling. This video is intended to help you remember whenever you're feeling lazy. This is what happens. This is the nightmare, is working manual labor for $40 an hour when you could be making $150 an hour flying a drone. So focus, buddy, focus. This is past Landon saying, we don't like this. Remember, we don't like this. And hopefully healthier, because being driven to drink by your job is not healthy. So I'm going to have a drink and calm down and relax. But this video is for you, future Landon. Just take care of business, buddy. Stop being lazy. Stop feeling like your own business is some sort of, anchor around your neck. It's not. It's the freedom. It's your ability to free yourself from this bullshit. Damn. Look at this, dude. I mean, here, let me see if I can show you the actual freaking wound here. Let's see. You're not gonna be able to see it anyway. But just trust me, it sucks. You cut up. You had a ladder fall on you yesterday. Like, manual labor is your nightmare. Stop doing whatever you're doing that's leading you to that path, and continue to do whatever you need to do to be successful flying the drone, writing, and speaking. Right? I'm glad I made these. There, man. This is getting old. So just remember that from the past. So this is the battle I'm fighting. I made those videos with the intention of trying to capture that emotion, and that I'm glad I did. I'm glad I watched them. I'm a little bit more inspired, honestly, because I've been just dicking around, man. I got home about 10 days ago, and I haven't done any editing, and I need to. And I've been running. I've been hitting golf balls. I've been doing some things that are productive, but just like the video said, it's a lot of times I feel like the business is an anchor on my neck, and it's not. It's my path to freedom, and I need to start treating it like that and embracing it like that and getting what I need to get done. And to be totally honest, doing this podcast is, I think, my attempt at jump starting that, trying to get into a better routine, a better habit, because the truth is that I've been very distracted. I've been very, preoccupied with distracting myself from the business of taking action. And, I'm procrastinating and delaying and finding other things to do for no good reason, really. The truth is that after working that manual labor job, I had this fire and this ambition to just edit constantly and just be on it. And Alex Hormozy says that confidence comes from being able to predict what's going to happen, and the way that you're able to predict what's going to happen is by doing it, having done it before. And that when you have a mountain of evidence to back up your claims, that then gives you confidence and experience. And when you have both of those things, you're able to be successful. Like, success is guaranteed, because you make it unreasonable for failure to be an option. So we're going to dive into the Daily Stoic here in just a second. Yeah, let's just take a quick look at the little yellow book of accountability here. So, I've got a lot going on. 7/18/25. Edit. I gotta do the. I just went and shot yesterday, so that's cool because I love flying the drone. So motorcycle video. One of the things that shook me is that I got the opportunity to film a wedding. And I did a pretty good job filming it, and I got super excited when I was organizing all the footage, and I transferred it all over to my computer, and I erased it off the memory card, and I erased all of the wrong files. None of it works now. And then I've spent $100 on this data recovery service, and I've recovered the files, but I can't. It's not the whole file; it's corrupted, so I can't edit it. So the whole thing is fucked, and it's my fault. And I've been really hard on myself around it because it's a really big mistake. It's not the kind of mistake that I can make in my line of work. Luckily, I was doing a solid for the band, and that it wasn't the bride and groom who paid me to do it. But I treat all my clients like they're the most important thing. And if it was the bride and groom, this would be disastrous. So learning a valuable lesson, and luckily it didn't cost me too much money, but it's been hard to shake off. That's where this it's like that's amateur hour. You can't make those kind of mistakes in my line of work and consider yourself a professional. So it's been really hard. It's been really hard to like let go of the fact that I made that big of a mistake when I know better, and I have redundancies, and I back up more. All my friends are telling me everything to do, and I'm like, I know. So that's been hard, but I got to still edit that footage. And then I've got the music stuff, the Grateful, the what are they called? They're called Steely Dead. I did some footage for them a while ago, so there's a bunch of editing I got to do. I need to create a profit and loss statement and a budget. I want to talk to 5 realtors or construction people. I've got a sizzle reel that I've made that I want to finish. I need to do the FAA thing. I got to kind of recertify my drone situation. I got to pay bills, which is internet and electricity and insurance. Luckily, I don't have to pay rent. I've got that. And I got another 12 days. My birthday's coming up. I'm about to be 43. So, calendar countdown. I do want to make 100 grand in the next year. I don't think that's unreasonable. So, and now I've got not a year, I've got 11 months. So there's some urgency here. A year from now, I'm going to have to do this manual labor job again, and I really don't want to do it. So, cool. I'm feeling good. I made a little list there. It's a little task list. Let's check out the Daily Stoic here, which is 366 Meditations on Wisdom, Perseverance, and the Art of Living by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman. Thanks, guys, for putting this together. Last time we read from this, it was June. So it has been over a month. We're going to go ahead and jump all the way up to July 18th and see what it has to say. Now, before I get into this, let me kind of just reiterate how I'm doing emotionally and mentally. I'm scared. I'm worried that I was telling a friend earlier today. It feels like I'm a plane. Like my business is a plane. Literally, it's a drone business, but whatever. My business is a plane, and it's taken me a couple of years before I've been able to get it off the ground. And now it's off the ground, and I'm flying. And the thing is, I don't know how to fly. And so I've got it in the air and it's all over the place. And I need some stability. I need to like right the plane and get it stable. And then I can figure out how to fly it. But right now I'm just like squirrely in the air. And the possibility for catastrophe is very high. And so I need to be able to not necessarily fly the plane, but figure out how to right it so that I'm not just all over the place. And I'm able to actually get some stability, and from there everything is going to be a much easier effort on my side. So I'm also procrastinating. That's just the only way to put it, is that I'm distracting myself, and the little that I've learned about that, like the self-sabotage, is that's your old you. That's your So in order to like live into your potential, to be your highest self, you have to let the old you die. You have to grow, and in order to grow, you have to leave behind what is no longer of service, which is all these bad habits and these horrible self-sabotaging decisions based off of limiting beliefs and lack, like I'm not worthy. And so as I'm growing into being worthy and feeling worthy and living into my potential and feeling good about living into my potential, there is a mountain of evidence that I have from a lifetime of being not in my potential, which has trained and conditioned me to think all kinds of things like I am lazy and I'm not worthy, I don't deserve it, I'm, you know, I only put out 80%, effort, not 100% effort, and that I do that to protect myself from fear of failure, or that I'm afraid of success and the responsibility. All the many things that I have that do not serve me, and I've done the work there, so I can shed myself of them as I'm doing, and I can feel myself doing it. But the reason that you have these self-sabotaging acts and behaviors like I have, which is a very difficult thing for me to free myself of, apparently, is because that's that part of you that doesn't want to die. And so it's trying to pull you back, it's trying to keep you, in old habits and in self sabotaging ways when you are actively freeing yourself from that because it doesn't want to die. And unfortunately, it has to die. And part of it dying is fighting to stay alive. And so that's what that's about. And so with that, I tend to be very forgiving and loving. I haven't been recently, especially after this big mistake I made. But generally, I'm like, okay, just keep moving forward. Just, it's okay. Get up, go. Yeah, it's okay to fall down. Just get up and go. And then you fall down again and get up and go and fall down again and just keep falling forward. And eventually, you'll figure it out. So I'm trying to figure it out. And the truth is, I'm not doing the work I need to do to be successful, and that is silly, and I know it, and it's self-sabotaging behavior, and I've got to find a way to overcome it. And so with that as my mentality, let's see what the Daily Stoic has to say. July 18th. Each the master of their own domain. My reasoned choice is as indifferent to the reasoned choice of my neighbor as to his breath and body. However much we've been made for cooperation, the ruling reason in each of us is master of its own affairs. If this weren't the case, the evil in someone else could become my harm, and God didn't mean for someone else to control my misfortune. Sounds apt. I don't really understand it. That's why I like the explanations. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 8.56. The foundation of a free country is that your freedom to swing your fist ends where someone else's nose begins. That is, someone else is free to do what they like until it interferes with your space. This saying can work as a great personal philosophy as well, but living that way will require two important assumptions. First, you ought to live your own life in such a way that it doesn't negatively impose on others. Second, you have to be open minded and accepting enough to let others do the same. Can you do that? Even when you really, really disagree with the choices they're making, can you understand that their life is their business and yours is your own? And that you've got plenty to wrestle with yourself without bothering anyone else? Well, hearing the explanation, I definitely took it differently at the beginning part because that lands. I've already got that. I don't. I Everybody can do whatever they want, but I let bygones be bygones. Even if you've done me wrong, I try real hard. I remember, and I'm looking out for it. But I try real hard to forgive and forget and kind of move on, and allow you to be a better version of yourself than you were even just a minute ago. So minute by minute, I'm trying to accept you how you show up. And if you burn me, and if you lie to me, and if you cheat me, that I'm okay with that because I'm coming from an honest, loving, kind place, which opens me up to that kind of behavior. I get fooled and tricked and cheated, and the way that I see that is that's their karma. That's now they get to deal with the consequences of living that kind of a life. And I would rather feel the love and the joy and optimism that I have for humans than distrust them and be suspicious that I'm going to get burned. Even I would rather get burned and get to be you know optimistic and joyous towards life in general. So that's an easy one for me. The beginning of it sounded a little bit more like what I was actually dealing with, which is why the explanation was weird. My reason choice is indifferent to the reason choice of my neighbor. So see, that was sort of and that like your own reason choice is what's going to drive you, right? And so it's like that's kind of the heart of why am I not doing what I need to do? You know, why is my reasoned choice to self sabotage and rather than push through to run away? You know, that's it doesn't tend to be my normal operating procedure. I wouldn't say that in my life I'm known to. I like risk. I like danger. I like rolling the dice. I even like falling down. You know, I like learning. And so as I've grown up, I've had a variety of activities that I do in my life where I literally fall on my face, you know, and really fail. And I've gotten the opportunity to learn to let go of my own ego and pride of looking good. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care really what anybody else thinks of me. And that's just a beautiful godsend and gift because there's so many people who do. And what a distraction that is. So I don't have that, which then lets me really focus on me. It really lets me look inside and be like, man, how can I be better? How can I do better? Because there's a lot to work on. You know, it's a work in progress, and there's a lot about myself that I love and I include, but the truth is rough and could be refined. And if I were to refine it, would move the needle in my ability to both create my reality and interact with other people in a loving, kind way. And so that's what I'm up to. That's my game. And it's been cool to have my business be a way where I can contribute and give back, but then also reveal parts of my character like this. Like, I have this very strong, I don't want to kind of voice in my head that is somehow able to overpower what I know to be the right choice and the right way to go. And I don't know why I do. So that it's kind of, you know what it is it's like mental toughness. And I found myself talking about this the other day. For a long time in my life, I was really angry, and I had to work on my anger, and I still have to work on my anger. But I've done the work on my anger to be proud of where I'm at now, and I've got a much better control over myself. And a big key to that, the secret was to not take things personally, even if they're personal. Just you don't take them personally. And if you can figure out a way to do that, or to remind yourself not to take them personally, to just let life be what it is, it does take away a lot of the anger. But that said, get angry, it's still ugly. I need to learn how to regulate my emotion better so that I can be able to communicate through some of my upset and anger in a way that doesn't put people off, because that's something I'm very good at doing, and I don't particularly like being good at doing that. You know, I'm not trying to put people off. I'm not trying to lose friends. I'm not trying to upset people by disagreeing with. I don't care too much if I do, but if I have a choice, I believe that I have the ability to tell my truth and not piss people off. So that's the vision. That's the goal with the anger. But then on the other thing that I'm working on, which is now I've evolved past anger, is mental toughness. And mentally, I am pretty tough until I'm not. Once I break mentally, I'm a little bitch. And you see that in manual labor jobs, and you see that like in all sorts of places in my life where I'm thinking about like hiking with a heavy backpack. I like to whine. I like to complain. My little sister told me, she's like, "You like to suffer out loud." I was like, "Yeah, all right, that's a pretty fair criticism and accurate observation of me." And I was like, should I not suffer out loud? You know? And she's like, yes. You don't have to make everybody else suffer along with you. You can suffer quietly. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I don't, I just, I, part of the reason I suffer out loud is I'm hoping that somebody empathizes with my suffering and attempts to alleviate it. And sometimes it works. And if I don't voice it, then how would anybody know? You know. So, but there's something to be said for bearing your own cross quietly and being able to do that. You know, specifically in my case as a man. You know, and there's something powerful and empowering about knowing that you are going through a struggle, but having the strength to bear that proudly, you know, because a lot of times I resent my suffering. And you don't have to. You can absolutely embrace your suffering, and when you embrace it, it starts working for you. You know, now you get to see where you're weak. Now you get to see where you can improve. Now you get to see where there's more work to be done, and then the work that needs to be done tends to unveil itself. And so, in my case, I really need to be editing. I need to be editing multiple hours a day just to get good at it, and hopefully then be able to up level the quality of my product so that I can charge people a lot of money to deliver a very quality product that then I can pay other people who are better than me or train them to be better than me to do it while I do the fun parts of the job, which is I really like networking. I like trying to go find the business and close the deals and the whole negotiating part of it. All that's very enjoyable to me. So the hard part is the editing, and it's definitely um, the spoonful of medicine, and I don't like it. So I'm trying to grow and be better than I am. And even though I don't like it, another thing Alex Hormozy says is your mood doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. Do it anyway. And I just, again, I relate to that. But my moods control me. They often run me, and that is a part of me that I can work on, and it's a part of me that I can be better at. And I'm self aware enough to recognize that. And I have all of these cards on my wall and these videos that I make and these little tricks that I try to create for like technique and strategy to help overcome myself, because I am my own worst enemy. I am my biggest competition. And if I can beat myself and outwork my own emotion, success is guaranteed, and I do want to be successful. So I think that's gonna wrap it. I was planning on going for an hour, but we're still pretty close to half an hour. And I gotta say, I love these podcasts, man. I know I don't have any viewers, and that's the point. Is I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me, and I'm making these ones public for now. But I'll probably make them private and sell them once I figure out how to do this all about Aspen podcast and start getting people to pay attention. But if you're lucky enough to catch one of these before I make it private, this is a Level Up Lando episode where I give you the dramas, the trials, the tribulations, because it's a volatile existence over here. And I'm turning 43 at the end of the month. And, I'm in pretty solid shape, very proud of myself for having my own business, but there's a lot of work to be done. And, that I've got now a year window that I've created for myself that's closing. It's now down to less than 11 months. And I got to get a calendar because every day that I'm not, really driving forward and making major gains with this is another day closer to me having to go back to work for somebody else. And that's the nightmare. I don't want to do that. And I'm doing a good job. So if I can figure out a way to keep going, I think that there's real potential here for me to be a winner and to have a winner and to eventually scale my company and bring in other drone pilots and have other photographers and really make this into something that's, you know, special and localized to Aspen and leave my imprint on this town that I love and call my home. It's incredible that I get to live here. I'm looking out my window onto Red Mountain where these billionaires have built their empires and made their mark on the world, and then they get to buy a house in Aspen, and like I already live here. So now I'm hoping to just contribute in my small way to this really cool town, and I'm figuring out how to do it, and it feels good. So more of that, please. Less of the whiny little bitch that is preventing me from getting to where I'm going, because that guy doesn't serve me. So that's it. That's what you get. Here we are on a Friday evening. The sun's going down. It's a beautiful night. I didn't go running today, but I did go hit a bunch of golf balls. It says it's 60 degrees. Just a lovely summer day, and the summers here are short. And we're almost to the end of July, and I've got then one more month to figure out how to come up with a client for my drone business. So got to get on this. We got to make it happen. Let's do this. I'm ready. I'm ready to do the work. So that's it. That's what I got for you on today's show, July 18th, 2025. You know, I'm your host, Landon Like a Plane, and I'm taking off.